I was going to start this podcast off by just doing a debrief from Thanksgiving, and we will get to that. But what I want to start with is I got home from the gym and proceeded to walk up the stairs, and it turned into a Woodstock concert.
Hardly.
I guarantee you that is what Woodstock smelled like. Not what you're thinking, but the smell that would drown out the quote unquote typical smell of Woodstock. That candle that is lit at the bottom of the stairs that is just permeating throughout the house is so strong. I honestly thought, like, are they trying to hide a smell in here right now? Because it's
like, you think we were smoking weed when you were gone? I mean,
everybody who has ever been in any head shop ever knows exactly that smell that I'm talking about. It's not the weed smell. It's the smell that's meant to cover up the smell of weed. And that is what this house reeks of.
It's the patchouli oil.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what is that? What is that candle?
It's a candle I've had forever. And it's there. I bought two of them. One's red and one's black. They're kind of big candles. And I just keep, I don't burn them. And I'm kind of sick of them. So I just decided the red, I just burned down. So it's done.
Got it.
And the black one I just lit, and it's there, on that little table at the bottom of the stairs. But for some reason, the black, it was like the air from upstairs. I don't know if one of us had a window open or something. It was just sucking the smell up there, because it's not everywhere else in the house.
No, it's really not downstairs. But when you get into the stairwell, I guess.
Yeah.
At
the top of the stairs.
It assaults you.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon. We have a diffuser by the kitchen, a diffuser in the living room, a diffuser in here, 4 feet away from me. Yep. I'm sure you have a diffuser in your room. So like fun essential oil smells in the house, extremely common.
Yep.
This smell was like, oh, Deb's just getting back to her roots, I guess.
No. First of all, that's
Dad's
not
getting back to his roots, I guess.
That's not part of our roots.
Well, that smell, literally, there's not a single person. I wish we had Smellopod that we could pump this smell out, because it really is, besides like the mud and the dirty people, that is what I assume Woodstock smelled like.
I think it smells much better than Woodstock.
That's what I'm saying, minus the body odor and the mud and the aforementioned marijuana. I have to believe that smell is just like, takes people immediately back to listening to like 19-year-old Santana play on the main stage.
Did it make you happy?
No, I mean, it didn't make me unhappy, but I was like, what am I missing here?
Did you have visions of Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin?
If I would have walked into your bedroom and like the Dead were playing, the Grateful Dead were playing, I'd be like, oh, Deb's in a mood right now. Deb's in a weird zone in life.
The Grateful Dead were not playing.
I just felt like we needed to address that because it was weird.
No, it has. When I was up in the bedroom, I came just out my bedroom door, like at the top of the stairs where it turns, and I was like, "Oof, what is that?" Yeah. 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 And not a terrible smell. It's just strong.
The devil's lettuce.
The devil.
Let's do a quick self recap of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We don't need to go into everything. We've talked about the dishes, but I want you to tell me and the audience what you loved about it, what you would do different, or just your overall take on it.
Well, I think it was a good Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I was a little annoyed with the turkey.
Yeah, you didn't like, so we got a pre-brined, pre-marinated turkey.
It's a really good organic brand.
Yeah.
I've bought the brand before and I love it. And I think the breast turns out really nice, moist, but they had put a brine on it and I actually grabbed it. Then I saw the ones that weren't brined and I thought, oh, and then it just felt like so much is going on this year. Like it's going to be an innocuous brine, right? I mean, like, let's just get it done and it'll be ready to go.
Based on the color of that turkey, it was going to be anything but innocuous.
So the turkey for me was fine. I was completely fine with the flavor of the turkey.
Yep.
I was disappointed in the flavor of the gravy because I thought it was great gravy, but it had the brine taste in there a little bit.
I thought so as weird as this sounds, I thought the turkey tasted delicious. because it also tasted like sausage to
It
me.
had a funny thing on it, yeah.
Where there was some element of, I don't know, coriander or sage or like something you would find in a traditional sausage that lent itself to that turkey, to where like, I know I'm eating turkey. The predominant taste is, yes, turkey.
Right.
A little hint of sausage in there, which I don't hate at all. And I thought the gravy was phenomenal because that turkey didn't come with all of the giblets.
Yeah.
So we spatchcocked that turkey, took out the backbone, and then from the backbone, you were able to make a phenomenal gravy.
Well, what I did is I roasted. I just read something real quick, some recipe passed me by online. And so I roasted. It said roast the giblets, but I just roasted the backbone and then pulled it out and then cooked it down for like 2 cups of liquid. And it was amazing.
Do you say giblets or giblets?
I'd say giblets. Do you think it's giblets?
I mean, giblets sounds more fun.
Giblets does.
Oh, look at them giblets over there.
I don't know. Well, hey, can I just, while we're arguing over giblets?
It's your show. Go do whatever you want.
So, 2 take it backs from last week. Can I just insert?
Pause.
Okay.
We'll add that in the main part of the show.
Okay. Great.
So I would say this. I think, again, I'm obviously biased. I believe that we do Thanksgiving exceptionally well. It is so planned and pragmatic that there is really nothing that can go wrong short of leaving something in the oven too long and burning it. But when we make all of our food, we put it all in the casserole dishes that they will bake in, that we will then just put a lid on and put them into the fridge. We do everything the day before minus the turkey. So there's not a single thing that needs to be baked the day of.
No,
minus
everything's
the turkey.
Baked the day of.
Right. Well, everything's assembled.
Made.
It just needs to be heated back up to temperature. And then I think for me, the green bean casserole was delicious.
It was great this year.
I think the candied yams, like, those can be so sweet and it's just like a sugary. I thought they were well done. The amount of butter and salt and cream I added to the mashed potatoes, I think those were some of the best potatoes. The turkey, again, little hint of sausage in the poultry, never a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. The gravy, exceptional. Your pumpkin pie cheesecake, though it cracked. It cracked in that.
Someone help me.
We say this every year. You are not a baker.
I'm not.
I am definitely not a baker.
Right.
You make a phenomenal gluten-free cheesecake. I think there's an element where there needs to be gluten to help kind of bind it. But even with the Grand Canyon-sized cracks,
it had a big this year. Yeah,
it was delicious. It was so good. I told you, as we were sitting down for dinner, I said, "This thing, I know it's a cheesecake, and I know cheesecake is supposed to have some solidity to it.
Yeah,
this was just like mousse without like the tackiness of mousse. It was so light. It was so airy." The caramel on top, which could have been over the top sweet, added this like beautiful, like silky element to it. I just kept eating it, and you're like, "Is it really that good?" And I said, "It's phenomenal." And then
I'm glad you liked it.
And you had it, and you thought, "Oh yeah, this is pretty darn good."
It was. I was gonna say it certainly wasn't moussey, but
you know what I say, like that tackiness of mousse.
It was much lighter than like a dense New York cheesecake
for sure.
And it like I want to use the word a little chiffonish. That felt like, I think that's old fashioned, but a little chiffonish.
Yep.
It just felt lighter, like,
sure.
And the flavor on it was great. Yeah.
I agree with you. I really take inventory of our holidays, and to me, the simplicity of how we handle it and the simplicity with which we deal with the day is why I actually look forward to it, because the day leading up to it is easy. The actual holiday itself is easy. And then we just go right back into kind of normal life the next day, where there's not 1,000 pots and pans. Yeah. There's not just a tumultuous amount of leftovers that are taking over the fridge. It's very disciplined in the way we handle it. And I know that doesn't sound fun when you think about holiday traditions, but I think there's a lot of people who are probably doing dishes the next day who wished they did what we did.
Yeah, we keep it pretty streamlined. I mean, you and I said, like, what did we think? Like 3.5 hours to make everything, including the cheesecake?
Max.
Yeah. So that's the time we spent together in the kitchen the day before. So we go to bed and the kitchen is spotless and nice and everything's in the fridge. And then it's just pulling things out and throwing it in the oven. I mean, the turkey is even in the pan ready to go.
Yep.
I mean, it's all done. So it was pretty funny, though, watching Tim, the tool man, a.k.a. Dad, grab his saw.
So he spatchcocked it the day before.
Yep.
And normally you would get the turkey spatchcocked at the butcher.
Right.
And they have
I've never done it myself. Yeah.
No, who has?
Right.
And they would take poultry shears that really are just like high-end gardening shears to crack the ribs all the way up.
Super sharp.
He grabbed a router, like
I think maybe
portable
a
router.
Yeah, with a certain blade on
That
it.
was, I think it's usually meant to like cut squares into drywall. That's what I think that is. I don't know the exact name of it. My lack of masculinity is showing right now.
You might have to take it back next week.
I'm not taking anything back. And the best part was, so he, gets it ready to be spatchcocked, and then he brings out this, it looks like a drill, but with like a little,
it was huge.
Little metal vibrating, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Blade at the end.
Yeah, there was a sharp, like a flat blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just hear this
So loud.
The sounds of the holidays. And I mean, the best part was even prior to that, he went over to the sink to clean off this industrial blade that I'm sure had everything you would never want to eat on it.
Yep.
Cleaned it over the sink where we had been prepping food.
Yep.
Used the sponge where we used to clean everything.
Yep.
But that's very typical for Dad.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to, Tim the Toolman Taylor that thing into smithereens, to which then you crack the sternum and the thing lies flat and it's a delicious turkey.
It was great.
Yeah.
He asked you, because his arm, he had surgery, so he asked you to crack it. You went over it, down, one big move, and it was terrific.
Needless to say, we just think we do Thanksgiving and holidays better than everybody else.
Well, I mean, I don't want to drop names, but a number of people did call and did send me pictures of their Thanksgiving. Like, I felt like we really helped John Beebe through the turkey and the mashed potatoes.
Good.
And so he sent pictures and was super excited because he hosted it, and it looks like it was a mad success.
Good.
So, and then Alyssa, our friend, who actually is a vegetarian. So she had done the stuffing before, a vegetarian version, but this year she bought Beyond Burger morning sausage.
Beyond sausage.
And cooked it up and crumbled it into the stuffing. So she was super excited because she, wanted it to be vegetarian. So I feel like, we're, and then Liz in Florida actually didn't use one of our recipes, but said she enjoyed hearing about them and sent me an incredible keto, like pecan stuffing recipe.
Yum.
Which I am going to make for sure. And so it was kind of fun getting all this feedback, after we talked about it.
I just want to say this to Liz. Liz, if we try that pecan keto stuffing and it ruins my Thanksgiving, that's on you.
There you go, Liz.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the post-Thanksgiving Deb and Kev pod. The woman sitting across from me who exhibits self-control in the form of actually having lost weight this weekend is my mom, Deb.
I'm Deb.
And I am her son, Kev, who obviously does not possess the same restraints, as I have apparently gained 6 pounds this weekend.
I don't feel like you've eaten excessively. Do you feel like you have?
And this is our podcast. Yes, I do. My fingers are swollen every single morning from the amount of sodium that I've ingested. I went to the gym prior to this on Wednesday, weighed myself, and then I weighed myself again today, and I was definitely 6 pounds heavier. The only difference is that I'm just eating outrageous amounts of food that I normally would not eat. But I'm not upset about that, because as long as I eat it now, I don't have to eat it later, and then I can just start my diet before Christmas, so we do this all over again. On today's show, we will recap the most traumatic finale in Great British Bake Off history. Deb is actually going to get a little meta with her business segment, and she's going to bring us a hypothetical in the business segment about COVID. I'm winging this. Okay, I'm just absolutely winging this.
I feel like we do that a lot.
Fair. You've been paying attention. It's a new segment. It's new to us. It's not new in and of itself. It's just going to be a would you rather.
Oh, okay.
We'll make it like a little Christmassy
like
thing.
would you rather this or that?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
And of course,
so the answers are supplied. I just have to pick.
Oh, yeah, but you got to give a reason, of course.
Oh, okay, fine.
And of course, we will tell you what is for dinner because I can actually smell it cooking as we record this podcast. And we will tell you what we're thankful for. But we have ushered out Thanksgiving, Deborah.
Yes.
We are ushering in Christmas.
Oh, Christmas is here.
We spent, and again, I just have to say, I know this doesn't sound like really romantic, but we are just like militaristic with the way we handle the breakdown and set up of things. We had Christmas up in an hour.
Well, here's the thing, the problem with you and I always have this vision of, like mulled wine.
Totally.
And taking our time and holding up an ornament and saying, oh, remember this from
Christmas-themed cardigans.
Exactly.
Little like, Elvis playing in the background Christmas songs.
But here's the thing. Here's the truth. You and I have both been event planners and managers and thrown huge events. And we are nothing if we're not efficient in breakdowns and setups. And I mean, it took about a minute and a half for Thanksgiving to all be gone and put away.
Done.
And it took about an hour for all of Christmas to come out and be done. And I will say, Dad had gone to sleep really early yesterday.
Yep.
And I looked at you and you said, how about if we have a little decaf cappuccino? And I handed you a bottle of Bailey's.
Yep.
And I said, put this in.
Yep.
So that was our mulled wine moment, right? Yeah.
I don't mean this to be an indictment on who we are. I don't enjoy that stuff. I don't enjoy setting up because you're right. I'm not like, oh, look at this little figurine from when I was 6. This takes me back and blah, blah, blah. Like, no. Put the figurine where it goes. Yep. They all have their place. Yep. Then when it's done, then I can look at it and I can reminisce and then just enjoy Christmas.
Yeah.
But like I told you, decorating the tree, I hate decorating the tree.
The ornaments are a thing.
Because
for sure.
there's an OCD thing with me too, where I'm like, okay, none of these ornaments, if that's a red one, then that can't go to that red one. Then there's a green one, then you have to space these ones out. And is that the right branch? It's why I don't like baking because people are like, oh, isn't baking so soothing? It's the same thing over and over. No, that's not fun to me.
Yep. I'm with you.
And so I just wish we could like snap our fingers like in the middle of a rom-com Christmas themed movie and everything would be where it needs to be. But I mean, we are pretty darn close in the way we execute that.
Yeah, no, we are. We did put Christmas music on.
True.
We did do that.
Yep.
We told Alexa to put Christmas music on. Dad had football on. We turned that down.
Yeah.
There were a couple which Dad was not. He was just trying so hard to watch it.
He's currently an invalid in the form of he can't use his right arm.
Yeah, his right arm.
And so we keep all of our Christmas stuff up in the attic. And we had brought down the majority of it. And the Christmas tree was kind of tucked back in a corner. And I saw him like literally crawling over
ridiculous.
Boxes. And I go, stop. We have everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to grab anything. And he's like sweating and he's panting heavy. I'm like, just get out of there. You're okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you need to do.
And then he came downstairs and he goes, I hit my arm. I hit my arm.
Course.
And I go, of course you did. Then he goes, I hit my head on the beam. Of course you did.
Yep.
So we had a couple little things that broke that he hot glued for us and put back together. I've got some weird thing going on here.
What's happening?
Do I have a bug on my face?
Oh my God.
Do I?
That's a huge spider.
I just feel like something's crawling.
No, I think it's just a loose hair.
Okay. All right. If it's loose hair, I'm fine. Had a moment.
Oh
there.
no, it is a big bug. I'm just kidding. Nope, you're good.
Oh, good. Thank you.
No, truthfully, the idea of setting up Christmas, I lament that. I don't look forward to that. The second the last ornament is placed or candle is placed, and we can just like sit and be lost in the spirit of Christmas, the best, the absolute best.
It was so nice. Like last night, we got it up early enough in the evening.
Yep.
That when we were watching TV and everything, it was nice.
Lit a fire in the fireplace, put on a Christmas themed movie.
Yeah.
I put the lights up
today
this afternoon. So now we are like Christmas-fied. The only thing that we have left to do is buy eggnog.
I do believe, you wouldn't let me buy eggnog last week. It was too early. I do believe that Dad is really grateful for everything you were able to do.
Sure.
I do believe at the same time he completely resents you for everything you were able to do. Like, he's like, wait, he just did my job.
Right.
Like,
there is like what is the movie with Chevy Chase, Christmas Vacation?
Yeah.
Where like they're for Dad to do something, there has to be like some stumbling blocks to it, right? Because then that's how he knows he accomplished it.
Exactly.
And so, we don't decorate the house over the top with lights. We just do icicle lights around the gutters, and those kind of frame the front of our house because we have 2 massive windows in the front of the house. And so, I mean, I would say that took me 30, 40 minutes. I just have my AirPods in and I'm just listening to a podcast, and it's like, oh, I need to shift things down, and it's like over and done with. And I think there's a piece to Dad where he's like, yeah, but where's the blood?
Exactly.
Did you fall?
Did you cut yourself? Yeah. Like, did the gutter fall down on you?
Because I can also reach the gutter from the porch, so I don't need much, I don't need anything to boost me up. So there's no risk of death involved, which I think, gives Dad that little high that every man his age needs when setting up Christmas lights. Yeah.
So, better be careful. It could be that, next year you will be forced to do it, or maybe you will never be allowed to do it again.
I'm okay with either.
Yeah.
Again, I will never be like, you know what I'm looking forward to?
Hanging the lights.
Setting Christmas up. Let's get into the business segment. And I love this because we're going to combine the business segment with a hypothetical.
Yeah.
You came to the table today and you said, let's talk about what happens as a business owner if COVID ends in 30 days flat.
So, first of all, that is a hypothetical because
Clearly.
That's not how it's going to be.
Right.
But we are getting closer, even though the numbers are ramping up. And I think Thanksgiving Day, I heard today, was one of the biggest days ever, in new COVID cases. I think we're beginning to see a glimmer at the end of the tunnel with all the vaccine talk, right? So this is just let's be ready. And what I am proposing, I do think takes some thought and some planning, and I want to say some reworking several times. So I kind of want to introduce it prematurely, if you will.
Sure.
So one of the things, if I were a business, and I'm especially a brick and mortar business, right? So a restaurant, shops, it could be hair salons, doctor's offices, all the places where you really have to go in, and see them. I think that even though a lot of these places have been open, they've been open with so many restrictions that come and go on them. And I think one of the things that we forget about, even though they're there to do business, I mean, that's of course why they're there. That's why we go. I think that at the point that people are really getting vaccinated and things open up and things start to feel a little bit more normal again, I'm just encouraging businesses to do, I'm going to say a gathering, to do some kind of event. I think I would do that if we still had our restaurant.
Like an open house?
Like, let's call it an open house, but I really want to say that I don't want it to replicate like old types of, an open house where it would have been like, look at all we have, come and buy now. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're really in a sales mode. I don't want it to replicate any of those kind of attempts.
You don't want it to feel like pre-COVID. You want it to embrace what we are now post-COVID.
Exactly. So what are we post-COVID? So what have we missed?
Tired.
We are, Kevin, no, exactly. So we are tired, we are weary, and one of the biggest things we've missed is connection. And we all know that Zoom is great, but it's a different kind of connection on FaceTime or Zoom, when you're doing that. So what I would say is the purpose of this thing is not to sell, not to promote your business or your products, right? The purpose of this is really, we're back, we got through this together, let's take a moment and do that and connect. And so if you're going to do that, what are you going to do? You're going to take time to commune with people. It's really a welcome back. You're throwing open the doors. You're saying we all got through this together, right? You're celebrating, you're kind of nourishing one another for the lack of communication and connection that you've had. I think you want to encourage people. I think it's a time to support those who have lost things, lost family, lost friends, lost jobs, lost businesses. I mean, invite all of those people in. I just think that, some case lost themselves a little bit. And I think it's a time to bring people into your business to just say, we're back and we're here for you without there being a dollar attached to it. Now, if you're a gift shop and somebody wants to buy stuff, great. If you're a restaurant and you can't afford to give free food to everybody, but you're going to discount cocktails or something like that, great. You do whatever you can. But I also think it's time that you really train your employees. Like, I want you to take extra time with people with this event. It's okay to sit down and talk to somebody. It's okay to look them in the eyes. It's okay to hear their story, right? And I just think that people are so hungry for that. If you were one of the first businesses to open your door and embrace people that way without a different agenda, right, which is spend money with me here and now,
Sure.
I think that people will, they will come. You and I went, there's a restaurant, a little wonderful hole-in-the-wall restaurant that we love, a local restaurant here. And I'd seen on Facebook they were closing for 3 weeks because, of the governor's new regulations. And I said, let's just go by and get a snack. And we didn't order much at all, but we left a very generous tip, for the person that waited on us, because we really wanted to support that. And we want it to be open in 3 weeks, when they come back. So I think it really is about listening to their stories, taking time with people, looking them in the eye. What you're doing is you're welcoming people in a new way to come together that embraces what we've missed, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it is a celebration. I also think that one of the biggest things about this is I think connection is the most sexy, influencing, optimistic, marketing tactic that we overlook all the time. We don't give connection enough, I'm going to say enough credit, for what that is. And this would cost people so little to do this. We went to that restaurant because not only do we know the owners, but we know like almost all the waitresses too, right? And we care. We're connected to that place. And so I think that that's the most important thing for businesses to reestablish, because some habits have changed while all of this has happened. Some people have gotten used to shopping online. If you're a brick and mortar, you want to undo that a little bit,
totally.
Right? Some people are nervous and afraid to go out, haven't gone out at all. So you've got to get them back out and, to see you again. But I don't think it can be under the guise of, I need to make money off of you. I think it really needs to be a welcoming, which made me think of when we owned the restaurant years ago. My friend Deborah, mother of Alyssa, sister to Liz, that we all talk about a lot, she had said to me, and this is so typically Deborah, she had said, I want to have a really big party, a Christmas party. And I said, great. And she goes, but I don't want to have it at my house. And she looked at me and I go, well, I don't want to have it at my house, right? I own a restaurant and event management and catering business during the holidays. I'm swamped, And she goes, but what if we have it at the restaurant? And I'm like, that sounds like an event to me. And she said, well, what if we tell everybody to bring an appetizer? And what if you have some girls working and have the restaurant open? For private party. And I'll supply the champagne, have the espresso machine open. Do you mean if they want that? And she said, and just see who comes. And she said, I don't know, I said, every weekend, Deborah's so busy, right? She goes, well, let's do it on a Monday night. No, but what is anybody doing on a Monday night?
Right.
So the first year, I felt like we needed a bigger purpose, though, than just getting together. Since it was the restaurant, we could both invite whoever we wanted. So if somebody said something like, oh, but my sister's in town, we're like, bring your sister. Do you know what I mean? We just didn't care. But the first year, what we did is we have a nonprofit here in our town called Step 2, and it's kind of the last landing places for mothers who have really severe drug and alcohol problems. So all of the women that are in there are mothers. And so they're not just getting rehab to cope with life and get over their addictions, but also learning how to reparent. And we just love that organization. So the first year I called step 2 and I said, what do you guys need? And they said, we just need bath products. We need shampoo, we need conditioner, we need bath soaps. So everyone's invitation said, bring this. And we had a table set up and just got hundreds and hundreds of bottles of, shampoos and soaps,
Cool.
and which then we delivered to step 2. And so then the second year, the restaurant was packed. I called step 2 and said, what do you need? And they said, we need twin sheet sets. And so we just told everybody, you got to bring a set of new twin sheets. And so I think we had like 75 sets of sheets, that were there. And we just left them. I didn't get right to step 2. And then customers saw it, said, what is this, the next day, and came and added sheets to it as well. So it really was just women, that we all knew socially and that we hadn't seen forever. And we invited anybody and everybody. Everybody brought an appetizer, so I didn't have to cook. The restaurant didn't have to cook. And I am telling you, people wouldn't leave. It was a Monday night. It was packed. We had this other purpose, that people brought, gifts for. So it made them feel like they were doing something. And I think there's something about that, of just taking this moment in time and saying, we're going to connect. And there's that is the purpose. And I think it's a great idea if somebody wants to pick a charity and say something like we did. Do you know what I mean? Like bring something other than just, I think like canned food is great for the food bank. Nothing against any of the food banks, but doesn't feel very specific as to going to a specific charity and asking them what they need. Because when you pick out twin sheets, you picture the bed, you picture the woman sleeping in the bed,
For sure.
It's a little bit more personal and specific. So I just think that businesses, there needs to be a throwing open of the doors, if you will, a throwing open of the windows. Like, this is over. We all got through it together. We all did our part. Now let's embrace life again and embrace one another.
What I like about that, honestly, what I love about that is it's a celebration of this time of our existence that was very dark for a lot of us being over, but it's also acknowledging that there are people who are still going through the remnants of this.
Right.
And just because the virus is no longer haunting us doesn't mean that there aren't people who are still suffering the lingering effects from it. And so to not just have, your place of business back open, but to have it back open serving a purpose for the greater good of the community, it's a pretty bulletproof idea.
I think it's a great idea. And I think it's one of those things that no matter what your business is, we all have a story to tell during this time. Mm-hmm. It's the old, I was in 5th grade when John F. Kennedy was shot, right? I remember exactly where I was. I remember the teacher that told us, that he had died. On 9/11, we were together, but we knew exactly where we were. We'll forever remember it. Children that are being born right now in 2020 aren't going to have any recollection of this, but certainly their older siblings will remember, I didn't go to school anymore. So this thing, like you and I were saying in the kitchen the other night, this thing, it's going to be a year. It's going to be a full year before everything, before the vaccines are ready and
whatever going back to normal
whatever
is
going
now.
back to normal. That is a long time. 9/11 probably rocked us, I don't know, for a month. I don't know, the JFK thing. And I don't mean this casually, but he's dead. Johnson sworn in. There's fast stuff around that, and it's not that we ever forget those things, but this was a lingering thing.
Yeah.
It was huge.
That's great. I love it. And the thing I love about it is if it doesn't happen in 30 days, then you can still put this plan together. And so when it does happen in 30, 60, 90, 120 days, whenever we feel comfortable or you feel comfortable inviting groups of people back into your place of business, this blueprint that you are hopefully putting together now will still be useful then.
Exactly, because I was thinking about this today as I was putting my thoughts together, and I just thought if I were doing it, I kind of went round 1, then I went round 2, massaged it. I thought about I would be sitting down with my employees and It's the one time you're telling your employees, I really want you to take time with people. I want you to sit with people. Do you know what I mean? I want you to hear their stories and give them attention, right? And so you're doing kind of a different thing. And I think it takes you a while to get to where you really understand the true purpose of the event. And the true purpose of the event is to gather and come together and celebrate and support one another.
I love it. You're a great person, Deb Z.
Oh, that's so nice, Kev. Thank you.
It's true. As if everybody didn't already know that.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think if you take that as a framework for the idea for your business and then take it in any direction that you want, as long as that giving, helping element is consistent with the messaging, I don't think there's a wrong decision to be had there for anybody that decides to do that.
I agree.
I think that's awesome. Off topic.
Yeah.
Don't drink soda while you're podcasting.
Oh,
I have stifled so many burps.
Oh, Diet Coke. We
Yeah.
had Diet Cokes. Thank you for those today, Kev.
Yeah, well, you're very welcome, but
Yeah.
should not be drinking them while I'm podcasting.
That wouldn't be good.
Whew. Nobody would be listening if I actually had the intention of burping as much as I wanted to during this. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, Kev.
Hey, I'm nothing if not honest. Love you all. I'm excited for this because this is going. I literally just thought about this before I walked downstairs through the patchouli oil.
Yep.
I thought, I personally love Would You Rathers. My friend down in LA, Michael, he puts together some of the greatest Would You Rathers, and then it just allows us to dovetail into 1,000 different topics. So I'm going to do a much more kid-friendly version of Would You Rather than what Michael would normally do. But the expectation I have from this is I'm going to give you two choices.
Yep.
You can ask as many questions as you want, but you ultimately need to decide what you would rather do. Okay. So we're going to embrace the Christmas theme, even though we are 27 days out.
I'm going to understand it all. Am I not?
I hope so, because if you don't, we're going to put you in that home.
Okay.
First, Would You Rather? Christmas edition.
Yeah.
Would you sing loudly the chorus of Jingle Bells every time you walk into a room for the Christmas season?
Yeah.
Or have to wear a Santa suit out every day for the entirety of the Christmas season?
Oh, this is so easy.
Oh.
Santa suit, 100%.
And why?
I sing terribly.
Oh, but I don't think it matters. Could you imagine how funny it'd be if you just walk into a room and be like, Jingle bells, Debbie's here to work.
So, first of all, most of the rooms I'm walking into are only in this house.
For sure. I mean, I would kill you.
Yeah, so I know that. Like you would say, stop, enough. And I like, so what, I wear a Santa suit to the grocery store and nobody, I mean, like,
now just imagine
that would bring joy to people.
It's not COVID. So you would be traveling. You would be taking business meetings. So we're taking the lens of COVID off this.
I think I can better explain the Santa suit than I can walking into the bathroom and singing Jingle Bells, walking back into a conference room and singing Jingle Bells, walking into a different office and singing Jingle Bells.
Let me amend this then. What if I said a week before Thanksgiving, you started to have to wear the Santa suit, and then a week after New Year's, you had to continue to wear the Santa suit. And I told you that every time you walked into a room, you didn't have to scream Jingle Bells, but you could be like, Jingle Bell, jingle bell, jingle all the way off. It's right, one hands up. It's like, hey, I'm Deb. It's so good to meet you. Let's get down to business.
Jingle Bells.
Under your breath. But like, you're going to walk into a room. Somebody's going to get up from the desk and be like, hey, Deb, how are you? Like, so good. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells. So you would choose to sing Jingle Bells.
Then I'll do that under my breath.
You know what I would do?
What?
Santa suit.
See, I think the Santa suit was a good idea.
But here's why. I like my amendment to it, because for the first week, you're the insane person wearing a Santa suit.
Yep. Yeah.
For the last week, you're the insane person wearing the Santa suit. But in between there,
you're
bringing the Christmas joy.
Well, that's why I said the Santa suit to begin with.
And just before people think like, oh, Deb's insane, she wears the Santa suit every day, it's over. And you're back to wearing your normal clothes.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't see the same people every day.
True.
Ever. And so I guess if I got on a plane, Santa suit on the plane, I can create a case that the Santa suit is going to keep me warm in the wintertime, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's a flat boot. That's good for my foot, right?
Yep.
Oh, my God. A Santa suit with an orthopedic boot on? Who's going to be mean to that Santa, right?
True.
Nobody.
Lots of jokes about reindeer can be had there,
Exactly,
falling down
exactly.
chimneys.
Exactly. I just think like the Santa thing. And if you just, you just have to give people warning like, hey, so my thing is
Yep.
during the holidays,
I rock the same suit every
and
day.
by the way, I don't even need to bring a suitcase.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this actually falls in line with why I liked going to a private high school, because you never have to think about what you're wearing.
Right.
It was a white polo shirt and khaki pants or khaki shorts. That's it.
That's it.
For a month, you're just wearing a red suit with
Yep.
white fur ruffles.
I'm going back to the red suit. I would wear the red suit.
I think that's a smart decision.
Yeah.
Singing every time you walk into a room
It's
is
not
insane.
going to work. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Would you rather live in a giant gingerbread house
Yeah.
or have to commute on the Polar Express wherever you went?
That's kind of tough.
Now, we'll say it's seasonal. This isn't going to be like an entirety thing. So, like,
if it weren't COVID, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
If it weren't COVID, do I assume that the gingerbread house has some kind of heat?
Ooh, great question.
I don't want it
gingerbread.
melting.
I'm going to say no.
Okay. So, and in the other case, on the Polar Express, like, does it just pull up in the front of the house?
Yes, but
I pop in.
But remember, the Polar Express is full of children.
I don't care.
I'm just letting you know, the Polar Express is full of children.
Full of presents too, isn't it?
Yeah, children.
Okay.
You are the lone adult on a train full of children.
Oh, you're talking about the train.
The Polar Express.
I was thinking of Santa's sleigh.
No, the Polar Express train.
Okay. But the Polar Express is going to pull up in front of the house and take me to wherever I need to go?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to Houston, it's going to take me to Houston.
Yeah, if you're going to Rayleigh's down the road, it's going to take you to the grocery store. Yeah.
I'm going with the train.
For a whole month, you're going to get on a train with kids.
Yeah.
You don't go out of the house a lot. Like Dad goes out of the house 9 times a day, right?
27 times a day.
You're going to take a train full of kids.
Yeah, AirPods.
Everywhere you go.
AirPods.
There's no AirPods. I didn't say AirPods. You have to ride on the Polar Express. You have to enjoy the majesty that is the Polar Express.
Yeah, I'm going to ride on the Polar Express. I am not good. Kevin, a gingerbread house, first of all, let me say this.
I mean, it's structurally sound gingerbread.
There is nothing in the gingerbread house. I don't know if you've looked in one. It's just a big...
The assumption is...
There aren't real windows.
That the house... There are windows, Deb. They're made out of melted candy treats. You can't see through them really well because they're more like stained glass from the Lifesavers. But there's windows.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get cold. There's not a bed in there. There's not a bed in the house.
The house is functioning as a normal house.
No, it's
not. It's the floor... I'm the one making these rules up.
You said it didn't have heat.
It doesn't have heat because then the gingerbread would melt. But there are rooms. There are normal trappings of a home. Like there are blankets.
Cook there?
Whew. Yeah. Might have to go into the frosting front yard to cook.
Yeah. No.
You have to go do number 1 and number 2 in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly. So because I think the Polar Express has all those things. It has a bathroom that I can use. I think you're wrong on the gingerbread.
I think I would choose the gingerbread.
And what would happen when you get hungry and you grab one of those little pretzels off the fence or the little star off the roof, and all of a sudden it all goes to hell in a handbag really fast?
Well, I mean,
because the chocolate kiss that was the shutter or whatever it was.
Rule number 1, you can't eat the house. You can eat the fence. You can eat the Christmas trees.
You can eat the lawn.
You can eat the lawn, but you cannot eat the house. And if you're going to start eating the house, you have to start it in the attic.
Oh, you
have to start with the gumdrop shingles or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't eat the framework of the house.
Yeah. I'm still sticking with the Polar Express.
There is no right or wrong answer.
Okay, Polar Express it is.
Last question.
So I'm wearing a Santa suit on the Polar Express.
Now you're just getting accosted by children.
Yeah.
Now you're just getting sneezed and coughed on.
Yep, it's going to happen.
Last one. I like this. I love this segment. This is sticking around. This did much better than Deb and Kev's sports segment.
Okay.
Who would you rather have as your best friend?
Okay.
Frosty the Snowman.
Yep.
Or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Yeah. Inquiring minds want to know.
So there's a piece of me that is super compassionate about Rudolph.
Because he's been bullied.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's a piece of me that wants to like wrap my arms around him.
Now you're getting the Rudolph that has guided Santa's sleigh. He came through
so
from
he's
that
a little
blizzard.
More confident Rudolph.
But he's still got a lot of PTSD.
Baggage. He's got baggage. And then Frosty is just so happy, and I think he would be encouraging. And isn't he like big and friendly and give you a hug?
But you have to make him.
I have to make him?
I mean, clearly. I mean, you make Frosty, and then what makes Frosty is the hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Rudolph just shows up. He's like, "What's up? I'm a living being. Yeah, my nose is a little red, but like
Does Rudolph poop in the house?
I would say the fact that he can talk and he's self-aware, he would not.
Okay.
But he might leave a big dumper in your front yard because he is still a reindeer.
Fine. That's fine. Oh boy, that's a tough. I mean, I really have apparently attributed like some personality traits to both of them.
I think Frosty might be too much for me. You know what I'm saying?
Like too huggable, too
like,
friendly.
He's like, Gavin, let's go do something. Blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, dude, we have gone out 12 nights in a row, bro.
And I want
Can we just chill inside?
Except for Christmas Eve, Rudolph might be content just to lay around.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
He has to put in work.
Yeah.
One day a year, but he has to put in work.
Right.
And so you're probably going to get a really well-rested Rudolph who's not trying to do too much leading up to Christmas. And then after Christmas, an exhausted Rudolph, but who might also want to go party afterwards.
Do you see Rudolph partying, Kevin?
If I had to do the workload that Rudolph did, I'd go tie some on afterwards.
Who does he party with?
You're his friend.
He's mine. Okay. You know, I'm probably going to take
Deb,
Rudolph.
just dropped off the last sack with the big man. Let's go hit a bar.
I think that he gets my sympathy vote, so I'm probably going to lean into that.
Yeah. I think Frosty might be a little full of himself. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, look at all the cheer I bring. Look how great I am.
Super jolly could be annoying.
People literally are trying to make me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's Rudolph. Hands down Rudolph.
Yeah. So I'm going to be wearing a Santa suit on the Polar Express, traveling with Rudolph.
Yeah.
Well,
Rudolph, I would say you could probably ride Rudolph if the Polar Express is down.
Rudolph, I think, can keep the kids away from me. I'll be good.
But becomes like ravenous and he starts hitting them with his head.
They will love him, but he will create a barrier between them and me.
Got it. So for really selfish reasons, you're going to befriend Rudolph.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. I love this segment. This is one of the best segments we have ever done. Putting genuine thought between would you rather live in a gingerbread house or take the Polar Express and who would be a better friend?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Rudolph all day long.
And if any of you want to give us either ors, by all means, would you rather just give them to us ad nauseum. I love playing this game. This game's going to stick around for a while.
Okay.
As we wind this down, I can smell it. I already kind of know what we're cooking for Din Din. But
why don't
you say? I don't want to step on your segment, Deb. What are we going to consume? Let me say this. I don't need to eat anything tonight. I am so disgustingly full of the most delicious leftovers that seem to only get better with age, which I don't know how that's possible.
It is true, though.
I ate so many mashed potatoes today. I ate so many candied sweet potatoes. I ate outrageous amount of stuffing and gravy. That turkey, the sausage turkey, is so flippin'
sausage turkey
good. I don't know that I have any room, but let's assume that I do have room in my stomach. What is for dinner tonight?
We're having shepherd's pie.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But with fresh mashed potatoes because I ate all the rest of the mashed potatoes.
I was going to use, the impetus was, let's use those mashed potatoes. But then you ate them all. Yeah.
It was one of those things where if I would have taken the appropriate amount of mashed potatoes, there wouldn't have been enough left. And I would have been like that jerk who just left the thimble full.
So you took the inappropriate
amount. Then I had to take the larger amount because, credit me, I didn't want to leave that selfish amount for somebody else. I had 3 potatoes, right? I feel gross. but like that good kind of gross.
Yep.
But like I still feel gross. Shepherd's pie.
I love shepherd's pie.
I actually make a great shepherd's pie. Do you put a gravy in your shepherd's pie?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
I know. What was one of the things? Oh, it's usually made with like lamb, right?
I think maybe the old shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
I think is lamb. Yeah.
And
I just use ground beef.
Yeah. I think I used ground beef and ground turkey when I made mine.
Oh, that would be good.
But then I would also take the like the frozen corn, peas, carrots. That's just so much easier too. You just throw it right in.
That's what I do as well. Yeah.
At some point, this is just going to turn into a food podcast, right? I mean, that's the inevitability of it.
I mean, I want a show. If anyone wants to create this, I want a show that is a combination of Anthony Bourdain, and Someone Feed Phil.
If you've watched, No Reservation with Anthony Bourdain, and then you've watched Somebody Feed Phil with Phil Rosenthal, those two shows, the only similarities is that they're food shows because the hosts could not be more different.
Well, Anthony would have murdered Phil by now.
1,000 times over.
I mean, that's what would have happened,
yes.
right? But, I mean, you can't be Anthony Bourdain. Only Anthony Bourdain can be Anthony Bourdain.
For sure.
I mean,
I'm just not willing to do black tar heroin.
Right, exactly.
Many times.
Please, we love Anthony Bourdain. Be respectful.
Oh, I'm not willing to do that.
Okay. Yeah. But then I feel like Phil is great on the other side of the spectrum. But, we kind of fall in the middle and could capture a little bit of both.
Hey, I'm down for that. And if nothing else, we'll start the Twitch stream where we just eat food on camera.
Where we just eat food on camera. I am all about that. Eating
1,000%.
food on camera, 100%.
Deb, what are you thankful for this week?
Oh, Thanksgiving week. There's a lot to be thankful for.
True.
Well, I'm really thankful.
Yeah. What's happening? Sorry. There was. I thought you had a brain fart. You were actually a little emotional, and you just kind of locked eyes with me. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, she has forgotten what she's going to say for the first time in the podcast.
No, I'm really grateful that Dad hasn't been feeling very well.
Yep.
And he didn't feel very well on Thanksgiving.
That's not what you're thankful for.
No, that's not what I'm thankful
for.
Got it. But it seems like he's feeling a little bit better. And so I'm really thankful. Like yesterday and today, he felt a lot better than he did on Thanksgiving. So I'm really, really, really grateful for that. I'm also really grateful that you have stepped up like there's no tomorrow. And I really appreciate that, Kev. I mean, in many, many ways, I feel like life is beckoning you to go live it. There's a little piece of me that goes, thank you, COVID.
Sure.
Because where you're going to go, what you're going to do, right?
Nowhere.
But you are the third adult in this household, and you behave like it, and you carry the responsibilities of it on your shoulders, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I want you to know that one day, hopefully very soon, I will say, go away, fly, go live your life.
Well, we had this conversation and you said, I want you to live in a year from now, if you're married and you're living somewhere else. I go, what world are you in right now where that's all going to happen in a year? And you're like, yeah, that's true. But I told you, there is nowhere else for me to be than right here, right now. I couldn't think of anywhere else I would want to be than right here, right now. And though it's not the ideal world to be living in right now, there is still nowhere else I would want to be. So I'm happy to be the third adult, even though my Peter Pan complex is taking a massive hit.
Yes, yeah.
I am thankful for being in the Christmas season for no other reason, and I know it's arbitrary, that we are staring down the end of 2020.
Yeah.
I know 2021 is just an arbitrary date.
Yeah.
I know there's still going to be a virus. I know there's still going to be civil unrest. I know the world will remain crazy. But there is something to be said for just getting out of the year unscathed. And for turning the calendar over, even though I think you and I would agree, we have had a lot of really good moments in 2020. 2020 has brought us a lot of great things. There is just something to be said internally for our own mental well-being that we are clearly in the home stretch of this year, even though it felt like there are moments where it has felt like it has gone warp speed. I told you just the other day, I said, I can't believe it's Christmas. I feel like summer just ended.
It just happened. Well, and even if 2021 is more of the same for a while, it's still a different year. And I can remember saying to you, I'll be on a plane by September. I can remember saying that.
Right.
I mean, I think
this year.
Yeah. And I think it's going to take till September. Me thinking that was really long.
Right.
Right. And like now we're saying maybe I'll get on a plane by April or May.
Right.
I mean, right.
Yep.
So, but I do think with all the information we're getting about the vaccines, and I know today I'd heard on the news, AstraZeneca had accidentally made a mistake. And, you know, there's 2 shots they give in the testing, and they only gave a half dose in the first. But it turns out that the half dose first and the full dose second
makes it better.
So it's like, thank you, God, for that, right?
Yep, totally.
I mean, that some of those things, even though they looked like mistakes, are actually working out. So, hey, 2021 can't come soon enough.
Getting close. That is going to do it for our Monday episode of the Deb and Kev podcast. Please like, rate, and review wherever you listen to us, and follow us on our social channels at Deb and Kev Pod. And if you want to see this episode, head on over to our YouTube channel at Deb and Kev. Mom, this was such a great holiday weekend. Thanks for making it easy.
Oh, honey, you're welcome.
I love you.
I love you.
Guys, we'll see you all on Thursday. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter at Deb and Kev Pod.